My perspective on racism. What's going on, everybody? Devil's Advocate here. Got my Thanos 2020 shirt on. Pretty much conclude how I feel about everything by the shirt that I'm wearing right now. But anyways, so this video, I was a little skeptical whether I want to do this video or not, because I think it's a touchy subject that a lot of people don't want to touch on. They don't want to have nothing to do with it. A lot of people that I know feel it, experience it, don't want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. And it's going to be my experience and my perspective on racism. Maybe not so much racism, but prejudice. More specifically, prejudice. So, I think, me personally, I think the word racism and racist gets tossed around way too freely these days. It gets tossed around. Like you got 5-year-old kids saying racist now. It's like it's crazy. It's really crazy. But anyways, I digress. That's not what this is about. This is about my personal experiences. So if I was going to be 100% honest, 100% transparent about my experience, my personal experience with racism or prejudice or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to stick with prejudice. It's going to be from other black people. Me personally, from other black people. Point blank, period. That's all there is to it. So, and that's a hard thing for a lot of people to admit, because I know several people that'll, when I say like me, I'll get to that in a second. But they're kind of in the same realm as me, and they experience the same thing. But they don't want to come out and say it. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, they shouldn't have to. But I am. I will say it. So, let's kind of just get into what that means when I say I experience prejudice from my own people more than anybody else. And I'm going to be honest. I'm almost 40 years old. Maybe I'm lucky. But I have yet to experience what I would consider a racial encounter or a racially driven encounter from a white person. I've had it from black people. I've had it from Hispanics, but I haven't had it from a white person. That's just my personal story. And that's all there is to that. That's all I can say. So, and I got a lot of it from Mexicans, straight up. Mexican people were just, I grew up in San Antonio, and there will be some areas of San Antonio where it's like, I've been there, and then they had a whole lot to say about me. But never got it from white people. But anyways, I digress. So when it comes from prejudice from other black people, when I was coming up, I got a whole lot of, I went to school, elementary school, in a rougher neighborhood. And I got to see the dynamics of the children that were in that school. So I was more fortunate. My brother and I were more fortunate. So even though we went to school in that neighborhood for a certain set of reasons, we dressed different, and the expectations for us were different. You know, we were expected to get an education, so we were a little bit smarter, and we were singled out for that. But it was, mainly because me and my brother dressed a little bit better, right? And a lot of the kids in that school were poor, so we were singled out for that. No harm, no foul, whatever, right? So, but then I get to third grade. It's crazy that I remember all this stuff like it was yesterday. I get to third grade, and in third grade, I was in Windcrest. I was the only black kid in my class. It was full of white kids and one Hispanic kid. There was one Hispanic kid named Frank. Can't believe I remember his name. And me. Everybody else was white. So I remember specifically, based on what I heard from like family members and stuff like that, that you got to watch yourself and people are prejudiced, stuff like that, right? So I was a little bit apprehensive, being the odd man out in this class, or the odd kid out in this class, right? So I remember one time we were in the playground and we're near the monkey bars and stuff. And I remember something happened and I fell down and I had twisted my ankle. And I was playing with this kid named, it was Steve, Steve and I don't remember the other kid's name. One of them's name is Steve. Steve and Michael. They were my two friends, right? And so I thought they were my friends. They were my friends. But anyways, so I twisted my ankle, right? And they wanted to keep playing. And I had to stop because I hurt my ankle. And I remember Mikey came up and he pointed his finger at me and he said, "We don't play with," and in my head, based on everything I had heard, I thought he was going to drop the N-word on me. I was expecting it. But that's not what he said. He said, "We don't play with wimps." And that was my first experience. I was like, I literally sat there and expected him to say something that was going to be racially driven based on what was fed to me and based on what I heard around me growing up. And then when it didn't happen, I was like, well, okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to beg for it or search for it. If it's not happening, it is not happening. And I had no experiences after that. Nothing. There was nothing. But then, as I got into junior high school, when I got to Kirby, there was a heavy mix of people from a lot of the surrounding areas, right? A huge mix of everybody. And by that time, I had started to get, I guess I struggled in school, but I still spoke proper English and stuff like that. And black kids would tell me, "You act too white." I was like, what is that? And it was either you act too white or you don't act black enough. And luckily, me being who I am, I didn't give a shit. I mean, I wasn't going to change myself to try to fit their expectation. But I sat there and I contemplated, what is that? What does that mean? What does that mean? Because as a 7th and an 8th grader, I was like, okay, so in my head, I'm like, I'm just trying to talk how I talk. This is how I talk. But other people are identifying me as talking too white or acting too white. What is that? What does that mean? What is the definition of that? Is it because I speak proper English? Is it because my mom, every time I said something the wrong way, she corrected me and told me to say it the right way? And me being a fairly educated person and speaking proper English, that is the equivalent of being white or acting too white or not acting black enough? So I was like, oh, okay. So me acting black is speaking broken English and sagging my pants around my ankles and sagging my pants off my ass and speaking broken English and throwing slang terms and stuff all over the place. Was that what it is? Is that what I'm expected to do? And so I got a lot of grief from several black people in junior high. This went all the way into high school. And granted, I was friends with everybody in high school. I'll have to admit, most of the friends I had in high school, I had a couple of black friends in high school. Why? Because I didn't act like they acted. So I didn't fit in with them. And that wasn't by my choosing. That was just how they didn't want to, quote unquote, hang with me like that. But I didn't, no harm, no foul. But the only thing I'm saying, and the reason I make this video, is because I know that there are people out there like that. I'm not the only one in that boat. I'm not. I know I'm not. because I know a handful of people personally that were in very similar or exact same situations. So it's okay. It's okay to know that this door swings in all directions. It's not just white people being racist to black people. Black people are prejudiced to other black people. And that's what it is. And on top of that, another thing that I will throw in there with my experience is things that I've seen throughout my life. People that I've known, right? I've known people who will blame everything that went wrong in their life on being black. And I'm not sure if it's environmental conditioning or what, but I knew these people well enough to know that it had nothing to do with them being black and everything to do with them fucking up. I'm dropping the F-bomb on that because I want the emphasis on that, because that's exactly what they were doing. They weren't doing anything like they were supposed to. They would show up late for work, not show up at all and not call, lose their job, and then when they get fired, it was because I was black. Or if they get fired, and then it's like, why'd you get fired? I got fired because I was black. No, you got fired because you were stealing from the company. These are real circumstances that I have firsthand experience knowledge of. These are the things that I've seen with my own two eyes. So when I see things on TV or I read things in the news or I hear people complaining, I take it all with a grain of salt, because I have to weigh what I hear and I have to weigh what I read based on what I've actually seen with my own two eyes. I don't have a choice. I can't completely disregard my personal experience for hearsay. Because based on what I know, knowing that people have done what they've done in the time that I've been alive and the things that I've witnessed, it has to be accounted for that there's a possibility that there are other people out there that are doing the exact same thing. I'm not successful because I'm black. No, you're not successful because you're not trying. You're not successful because your mindset is not right. You've been brought up to believe that you're a victim of society, and everything that you do and every action that you take reflects that mindset. But I don't want to go too far in this video. I just wanted to throw something out there that gives a little bit of an alternative perspective from a black man on what I've seen firsthand. So, a recap. I've experienced prejudice from black people multiple times. I've experienced prejudice and racism from Hispanics a handful of times. I've experienced racism from white people in my 40 years of being alive 0 times. And let me tell you another thing. Let me say one more thing. If there has been an instance where there has been prejudice or racism inflicted upon me by a white man, I have no knowledge of it, and they did a damn good job of hiding it. Job well done, because I know no different. Is it a possibility? Sure. But I tell you what, everything that I ever gone after in life that I've actually put my mind to and tried to get, I've achieved it. Nobody was there to stop me. And that's it. And that's it. I just, I say this because I'm hoping that maybe if I throw this out there, there might be a chance that somebody might see this and be like, you know what? Okay, maybe I am looking at things the wrong way. Maybe my mindset is, maybe I do need to change my perspective on things a little bit. Maybe if I address things in life a little bit differently, things will start transpiring a little bit differently. But like, share, subscribe. You know, if you think I'm off base, you think I'm way off base, let's leave a comment in below, and good or bad, I'll try to respond to it. But that's it. That's my experience. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and lie. So that's all I have to say about that. Take care of yourself.